Jesus was promised to us at the beginning of the creation of heaven and earth. Genesis chapter 1. God said the seed of a woman will crush the devil's head. But there was no human qualified to be that seed, to bear that seed of a woman. Biologically, a woman has no seed. A woman has no seed biologically. It's a man who has a seed. But because the woman is the one who talked to the serpent and she bare the blame, God said, I'll take away the problem of the woman. So what he did, he said the woman, a seed of a woman. God knew he's the only one who can give a woman a seed. But all through those years, there was nobody who could, no woman could produce, or no man could produce a girl who would qualify for that woman. And this is a real message. What makes Uganda generation to be special? What is going to make Uganda today to be more special than our forefathers, than the independence time? What is going to make a member of parliament today? Because those men of the members of parliament called the legislation corps, they went and negotiated Uganda independence. What are the members of parliament today doing? Are they negotiating deals for their constituency so that every school, every community, every constituency has a factory, has a high school, or has a college, or has something? What are they doing? The forefathers, the founders of this nation, negotiated independence for our country. So so these things, you look at what makes Jesus so special, because he was able to negotiate a deal between us and God. God is holy, God is righteous, he hates sin. But Jesus negotiated a good settlement for man. He said, I'll die for them. I'll pay the price. Whatever you want, they can't do it. If our leaders in authority, they are the one negotiating, bringing foreign companies to come and work, why don't they negotiate a better deal that let the technicians and the experts be the one to be brought, so that we hire our own graduates from our own universities to work in those companies? Why do the other way around? You see, what are we negotiating for our people? You see, the reason why you will have in the West, they call them the Katera Rume, the negotiator of between the two parties to negotiate a good dowry. Waffe tumuyita oba mwogezi agenda okwogereza omukyala, omwogereza agenda okwogeza. They are negotiators. Africa has poor negotiators. How can we still export our Tanzanite, our copper, our gold, our oil, our everything, so that we can receive a finished product? How can we still exporting our cocoa seeds, our coffee beans? Today, who are the negotiators? What makes Jesus? He came from heaven, he came down, he would have negotiated everything heavenly way. But he said, no, I'm going to negotiate a good deal for both the humans and God. And now we are called children of God. We were firewood for hell. So it just tells you we need negotiate. That's what makes Jesus a good negotiator. In fact, he's an intercessor. In fact, he's a man stands between man and God. When I can't face God, I go through Jesus. Because of my sin, I go to Jesus and say, forgive me, Jesus. And Jesus will carry my prayers and tell to the Father, please forgive that one. Please help that. That's why the thief on the cross, Jesus told him, don't worry, I'm going to go to the Father, but tonight you're going to be with me in paradise. If God looks at you and says, how comes a thief is here? I've said, I've just died for him. So that's what makes Jesus so special. Christmas is about man producing what humans can't produce. Humanly speaking, we can produce children. And they can turn out to be Connie, Amin. They can turn out to be Hitler. They can turn out to be, murderers, killers, and haters. But if we produce that which is good, when Jesus was born, God said, this is my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased. If God said I'm well pleased, and yet a third of Jesus was produced by human beings, God is the one who creates the soul. God is the one who creates the what? The spirit. But it's us human who create the body. And God said, I love that package. Then that tells humans we can produce what our forefathers never produced. We can actually contribute to that which is great. Salvation has more advantage than the time Mary delivered Jesus. The transportation alone, they used donkeys. Imagine putting a woman who is about to deliver in 2 days on a donkey. She may even deliver along the way. Mary was young, and Joseph. They don't tell us they had midwives. I don't think they had clinics and hospitals like we do today. Actually, they said there was no room in the inn for them. So they went through tough times to produce a solution for mankind. Now it's over 2,000 years. Today, we have got technology, we have got internet, we've got media. Like Uganda, I don't think we have ever been in a time where Uganda is flooded with media houses all over the world. The problem is everybody's sending out his own message concerning different topics. So we don't have an authority speaking on a particular topic concerning communicable diseases. Who is the authority? Concerning poverty alleviation, who is the authority? Concerning feeding, who is the authority? Concerning businesses and comes. There's no concerted effort. There's no concerted effort to really help people. Today we have got artificial intelligence. Actually, they can tell you what child you have before you deliver the baby. So you don't buy, clothes for the baby when you're delivering a girl. Actually, you can be helped more. In the days of Mary, it was tough. It was winter. They didn't have modern transportation. They didn't have what they needed. The child was being hated by a ruler who thought this child is going to kill him. And so they had to escape and go between Israel and Egypt. There is a Sinai desert. The good thing, it was winter, so they didn't die of the heat. But the journey alone is a long journey. So it was very hard. We can make it happen for our lives. Like I said in your first question, the previous question and before this, he said, what is the message? The message is that we can collaborate with better systems like God to create something good for humanity. We can produce that which nobody has ever produced. When you look at what man has done over the past 2,000 years since Jesus was here, I'm telling you, man has provided television, man has provided communication, man has provided internet. Could you imagine if Jesus was born in that time, or Jesus preached 2,000 years ago, and the sermons and messages were kept on record and they could be broadcasted around the world? Many of us will not have jobs. We will be kicked out of work. Because who will listen to Robert Kayanja when there is a tape by Apostle Paul or Jesus? After the fall of Adam, we saw man collaborating with God and put up great inventions. For example, Noah built an ark with gum and wood. God was very specific. He said, use tar and use gopher wood. We have gopher wood, but today there's no nation that has got tar. Tar, they say it's like chorus, it's like bitumen, but it's not bitumen. What chemical did he develop? What ingredients did he put that can hold wood together? And yet the Titanic, which was built of iron and steel, broke by an iceberg. This storm of 100 and 200 and plus days of heavy rains, we just saw a very devastating tornado and a storm in the United States, in Wyoming and in Kentucky. It devastated areas. Storms can literally devastate areas. But a storm of 120 days, a tsunami, how can wood survive that? Unless Noah was given a formula to create a super glue that actually when you put it in and outside, it turns into a super metal. But we don't have that technology, we don't have that science. So, but it was done after the sin of Adam. Take it furthermore. When the children of Israel crossed the Red Sea, What kind of wind blew that water apart and held it in place until 2 million people can pass? Do we have the ability today? Do we have enough air pumps that can pump flooding that is always affecting our countries and our areas? The other day we had floods around Lake Victoria, Benson, and everybody was telling, run, run, run. But in the days of Moses, the Red Sea parted. I mean, do we have such ability today? You know, I'm just imagining that if under sin and under troubles and under jealous and envy, these people can produce. I'm looking back and see where Uganda was at independence time in 1962. We didn't have these tall buildings in Kampala. Neither we didn't have the traffic jam. Now I see we are building flyovers. What would have happened if man had not sinned? What would have happened? I bring it home, because if you say Adam, that is very far out. But let's bring it. In 1962, if in 1966, if Obote had not destroyed the independence, if he had not destroyed the system of government in Uganda, abolished the constitution, where would Uganda be today? If Amin had not captured power, and take Uganda back, where would Uganda be? You always go back and said, oh my God, what if we were not interrupted? Because sin is an interrupter. So I'm just look, even today in Uganda, we have seen the development we see everywhere. I mean, I'm looking at Mengo. I'm looking at Mengo. I see they build Masengere. They build all that. They have done, Tafali and whatever, and everything that is happening. What if Mengo progress was not interrupted? What I'm seeing Parliament now. Uganda used to have about probably 90, 100 members of Parliament. Now we are over 340. What if we are not interrupted? You get my point? What if we are not interrupted? So sin is an interrupter. It stops you from progressing, and you restart again. You reinvent the wheel. Even today, that's why peace is very, very important. One of the message of Christmas, the angel declared peace on earth. Peace is not a earthly commodity. That's why we don't understand it. Peace is a divine word, is a divine command, is a heavenly command. He said goodwill towards men, so that man should live well. Man should have business and joy and happiness, but also peace on earth. So that's why you find out that if we, I'm just looking at how far will this country have been if we are never interrupted. That's why I'm saying, please don't interrupt what is happening. Don't interrupt for any reason whatsoever. If it's about selfish gain. Because 45 million Ugandans, where will they be 20 years from now? We look at nations developing faster than us. You see, Dubai has developed so much. All of us look at Dubai and we salute them. Singapore, and we salute them. But we forget that they have had a very stable systems in place so that their progress is not interrupted. Corruption is a sin. Is an interrupter. It's stopping us from building the roads we should build today. You look around Kampala, potholes are everywhere. These roads were okay 2 years ago. So what happens? So now we need to get millions of dollars to build roads in Kampala. What if the roads are built to last? What if the things that we are using, the medicine, the situation we have developed right now concerning COVID, probably by now we should have our vaccine. We should, if we pay our scientists well. Or maybe this COVID-X should have turned into a vaccination or a pill, so someone can just, you see, nations are developing because they're not interrupted. They don't have corruption, they don't have, malignment, hatred, jealous, and envy. Witchcraft is an interrupter. You bewitch someone's child who would have been a doctor tomorrow, and that's, think about Uganda Airlines. Uganda Airlines was strong in 1970s. In 1980s, when I started traveling in 1983, I was living in Entebbe, going to London, going to Italy, using Uganda Airlines. What if Uganda Airlines was not interrupted? It did not collapse because of corruption. It would be one of the biggest airlines in the world. So everything whenever you interrupt progress, you go back to point zero.